So there are a number of things that I have remained consistent. Others, I have evolved my thoughts. For example, I've always believed that people should have second chances, but nowadays I am convinced that prison is doing nothing, or not nothing maybe, but very little in the grander scheme of things when it comes to rehabilitating people. So there we need to invest ourselves more. We need to invest not only in having social workers there and psychologists, which is a very important thing, and professionals. It is not only important that we have leaders within the prison system which are not military, which are not police, but coming from the social and medical and caring sector, which is happening, which is good. But it is also about rethinking our whole model of the way we act for people who have done wrong things. So first of all, there are people who need to be in prison at all costs because they are very dangerous people. But then there are loads and loads of other people who might need very little time in prison, get their punishment, as well. But apart from the punishment, most of the people come out from prison. So what I want is a good rehab program, because these people, 30, 40, 50 a month, come out of prison and they are back in our community. So if they're back in our community, I want them not to be frustrated, more aversive towards the system, but rehabilitated, reformed, because they are going to be back in our community, living side by side with us. So there I have evolved, and I can't not mention Tapiazza Pardi, is a very close friend. I often refer to him as my elder brother, where I have learned a lot. We don't agree on everything, mind you, but on this, he has been a very important signpost in helping me understand that, listen, people who are struggling and end up in prison because of a crime, they need to be given a punishment, but they should also be given the opportunity for a second, a third, and a fourth, fifth chance. Yes, to redeem themselves, but keeping in mind as well, in a way it's egoistic as well, keeping in mind as well that a rehabilitated John, Daniel, Andrew, Peter, Paul, Mary will be better citizens in our community. So my house will be safe, my family will be safe, my car will be safe, I will be safe.
There's an element of return on investment.
A return on investment, that's right. Now that I don't think is happening enough. Recidivism is very clearly very high, but apart from that, there is also a number of other issues which show that the sort of the model that we are using is a Hammurabi model, which is Ain al-Ain and Sinna al-Sinna, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I understand that victims will want that, mind you. I would understand victims, but that is why we have the state, so that the state will help us take control. The state will take control from the instinct of getting back, of vindicating ourselves. We need justice, not vindicating ourselves simply for because most of the people, it's not acceptable that they do wrong things, but most of the people who do wrong things is because the state earlier on had abandoned them, did not notice what was happening.
And they take it upon their hands to
pass
on their own sense of justice.
Yes, and so that is, I think, is extremely important to recognize.
And you highlighted many socio-cultural gaps, and you mentioned the state quite often, that the state is a central figure and a central component in filling in these gaps, but also pushing the society and culture forward. How can the people, besides democratic and voting, but what can the people do to push society forward, make a more cohesive society?
I think we are at a crossroads. I think like many other countries, we are a country is organic, a society is organic. We are organic. So I think we need to depart from that angle, that society grows around you. Now it also grows around depending on what you are feeding it, on what you are contributing to it. So it doesn't. So society, communities do not just happen.
Yeah.
Society and community need particular elements, particular ingredients, so that they can function, so that they grow in a particular way. If I had to give a simple metaphor, if you have a long plant and you do not fix a little twig or a piece of wood so that it retains its shape, or if you would like it to go round your doorway, and so you need it to go round this little piece of wire, you need to do that.
Yeah.
Now, what we are I think experiencing is the fact that our societies are growing very quickly, are evolving very quickly. Firstly, because obviously through globalization, people are traveling more. We are obviously part of the European Union, so we are also in a way a gateway into Europe, especially for countries in the Mediterranean and in the north of Africa. So there's that dynamic, and that obviously has created a situation where we are growing quickly. Now let's keep in mind, Malta was always a country of Corsara. Malta was always a country of pirates and of merchants, and we have always negotiated all the time with people. We have always been bartering. Mm-hmm. So this idea of being in touch with different communities has always, or has for a number of years, been a staple element in our social diet. Now, obviously, this has created a particular dynamic, and I think what we have is a society at this point in time, which has a lot of positives, but I think there are two major problems. One, there's a lack of leadership, and I'm not saying just in government and in political parties as well, but I think we do not have inspirational leaders. If I had to ask you, who is this one? Who is, before you used to know. If I had to ask you who are the backbenchers in Parliament, you'd probably stall, and I would stall and I would stammer because you can't see enough leadership there. So we have a situation where we have a problem of leadership at government level, at NGOs level, at the church level. We have a major.
Is this skill lacking, or?
I think people are. I don't know why the reason is happening. You are better placed to do that analysis because of your expertise. But if you had to agree with this, but I think that the problem is multi-pronged. I think there is a fear to be a leader. Yeah. I think it also ties up with the second issue that I was going to mention, which is that we have a society where from community we have moved into being individuals within the community to individualism. And that is really worrying, because I feel that I am completely in control of my destiny, completely in control of what I want my life to look like.
If I know what I want. But I think that having money, having a state, and having status, that's enough. But it's not. We know that it's not, because there is evidence. We have research showing us, not only by our faculty, but also a number of other faculties and other colleagues, showing us, for example, that our rate of loneliness has skyrocketed between 54, and in certain research it is showing also going up to 57%, a spike of between 11 and 15% from 3 years ago. From 2022, from 2019 it went up by 11% in 2022, even possibly more than that, because we took very conservative numbers. So we have a serious issue. 200,000 Maltese citizens from the age of 11 upwards, not including people in residential homes, foreigners, and people in residential settings, so probably the number would be even bigger if I had to include those, are consider themselves as lonely. This shows very clearly that there is there's enfranchisement with the society. That shows that there is alienation, that we think that having an affluent community is enough, but the truth is showing that we have serious structural issues